think so. Perhaps this new Falcons banner is going to be the determiner. 81% of you think that they will take the cake here over Wildcard, who they have challenged. Let's see what happens as we dig into our first cast here of Reload.
Oh boy, and it is Clubhouse. One of my personal favorites, you know, the strategic depth, problem solving, and with the new Orbit Defense system, you can do a lot more target banning, and that's I think the biggest thing about this. Normally you'd see, oh, you do your basic default ban on 1 and 2, and that's it, the game plays out. With this third operator ban, once the third round has concluded, you can target a specific situation in front of you that you've seen your opponent play, so you're not predicting what they're gonna do, you've quite literally seen it. And the teams that have a deeper strat pool and more flexibility in operators, they can take the most advantage of this, kind of baiting their opponent, and off the rip, double Heart Breacher ban coming out of the gates.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Have fun attacking.
Two of the most powerful Heart Breachers on Clubhouse have managed to sneak on through. Thermite for opening up those huge walls, and also Maverick, which can be very useful should the opponent be running a Kaid or a Bandit. Of course, Kaid being banned means that Bandit is the trick, the juggle against that Thermite is what you might want to pick that Maverick for. We do see Kansan bringing it out straight away, that Bandit, but as we dig into this game, another thing I did want to touch on, because I don't believe we really delved deep into it on the desk, is the bullets that these teams have reloaded going into this match. So keep in mind, Falcons lost yesterday against Loud 7-4 on Skyscraper, whereas Wildcard won 7-1 against Scars. So Falcons, despite being the grossly favored team in this matchup, are actually currently lower on the standings. Now, they've reloaded 2 bullets out of their 5 remaining, so they are really gunning to take down Wildcard here, and that means should they win, they'll get those 2 bullets back plus another 2. Now, Wildcard, they're in a comfortable position at the top of the standings right now. They've got 8 bullets in their reserve. They've just put 1 into this game, which means they'll only lose 1 if they lose, but they'll only gain 1 should they win. So Wildcard don't expect to be favored in this match.
No, they're not, and sadly we'll see a rehost they're being called in the in-game chat, not sure why, but we'll get right into the game as quickly as possible. It seems to be a user's maybe headset issue, I'm not entirely sure, but essentially with that Orbiter ban phase that we saw, it's gonna be around wall deny and problem solving. And the thing that we didn't really touch upon is that, yeah, only Bandit is open, not the Kaid, but so is Tuberao. You can still, on defense, if you want to really bunker down, turtle, set up your, utility and hide behind it, so to speak, play around it. And we gotta talk about one thing as well, because we saw Shaiko playing Capital there in the very first round. There was a change to Jaeger that we saw yesterday. Jaeger's ADSs will now catch Capital's fire and smoke bolt. Before, it was only Wamai, and when Wamai catches something, it'll still impact the area where the disc explodes. So now you can actually play Wamai and or Jaeger and really bunker up against the Capital. We might see Wildcard have that kind of playstyle today in a couple of rounds.
That's right. We've seen the meta evolve over recent years, but that is a change that is not to be understated, how powerful Jaeger is able to counter Capital. Because it was the thing that Jaeger never countered Capital, and prior to Amai being released, that made Capital this unstoppable force. No matter what, you cannot get rid of that fire, of those smokes, and particularly for, like you said, that Rafters position here on Clubhouse. Very, very powerful. Now you can stack them both. It's going to be really challenging to clear out Rafters takes. I don't think we will see as many Rafters takes as a result, and maybe CCTV is actually going to be a more valuable bomb site.
I could see it. If you have a Sami open and you can play a Jaeger and Dolomaya both, I feel like you can actually finally hold this position. We saw some teams when Scopus was released try and cheese their way out of it. You play Scopus on Rafters with like no utility. You're just on your own, and you can double reinforce off the catwalk wall towards the bomb site. Normally you have 1 soft, you can reinforce both. If you get kept off fired or grenaded, you TP out of there and you're like, bye, and they spend utility on getting rid of you, but you're full HP on the teleport. That's how people try to cheese it, but then people got better and better. You start playing Nomad, it stuns you, you can't teleport away. So there's always these small mini games in a round of Clubhouse, I feel like.
Yeah, there's so much depth to that Rafters clear and that Rafters hold. So many different ways that you can interpret it. Jaeger, Wamai, as you said, Scopus. Another one that we saw come into favor a lot last year was Doc.
Yeah.
A lot of people are sitting there and just stimming themselves up, constantly tanking that firebolt. And of course, with Capital in, all of that catches in, it's going to be, in a way, both the attack and the defense have all the possible ingredients they would want for those Rafters clear. Another one is that Montaigne. We've seen a lot of Monty used to clear out Rafters. The shield meta really came to fruition last year. Hasn't been as potent as of recently with a couple of nerfs that have come through, but it's still very, very solid.
And the new Orbiter ban system, it's hard to play shields. And that's where the desk spoke about it in the DC Fnatic game or whichever. We saw Spirits pull out the Ying shotgun all of a sudden because you can triple ban the shield operator, and then Spirits, oh, he's just another operator. a normal player. No, he's got this other trick up his sleeve. When you think back on like the origination of, I think, that kind of player, you think of Hungary in Europe. He was one of the best multiplayers in the world in Europe, and then you had banned against him. Guess what? He plays the best Ying in the world as well. So either you ban the multi, get the Ying, or vice versa. There's no winning. Players or teams who have those kinds of players, which Spirits with DC he is, they have, again, a massive advantage at forcing the enemy's hand and still punishing them regardless of what they do.
Do you happen to recall what games we saw yesterday on Clubhouse? It was Furia Elevate was one of them. Just having a look at the operator bans, I thought it would be interesting to compare, because so far, obviously, we've only had 2 per side. We had the double hard breach ban on the attack. We had the Kaid and the Mirror, I believe, on the defense.
Yeah.
As compared to that Furia versus Elevate game, straight out of the gate, we saw Elevate take down the Thermite and then the Capital. So that's a fact that we've talked about a lot. That Capital coming in, and as we've said, in this veto so far, it's exclusively hard breaches. In fact, 3 out of the 4 bans that we've seen have been about the hard breach.
Yeah.
Because the Kaid on the defense, the Mirror, the only exception to that. When it comes to that end of round 3, of course, it will depend on how the first 3 rounds go and what ends up being used. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Capital ban sneak in. Or the other philosophy is you're like, we've just gotten rid of 2 hard breaches.
What about a third?
What about a third? Get rid of that Thermite as well. You've got no Ace, no Hibana, no Thermite. You're relying on just the Maverick and just the tin can openers.
Jesus.
That's going to really test an attack.
It's kind of gross when you think about it. I like this because you're getting into scenarios that you haven't had to think about in the past as a player. If you are an OG Siege player, you know, originally there was just the Thermite. If he got spawn peaked, whether it's Polyc or Random Cash, doesn't matter. You would have to problem solve without a hard breacher. If the Thatcher got spawn peaked, you have a Thermite who can't breach the walls because you can't get rid of it.
Which was like, let's have 3 people spawn peeking with Jaeger, Bandit, ACOG, Rook, ACOG. Just try and find that Thermite and kill him. If we lose 1 or 2 players spawn peeking, but we kill Thermite, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We still won the round.
And then, of course, you got Hibana into the mix, and Hibana originally wasn't a very strong operator. There's a couple of bugs, obviously, that made the operator like kind of clunky to play, but also you couldn't swap the pillars from 6, 4, and 2, so the value wasn't as great every single round. So it took a couple of months before Hibana was like a solid hard breaching operator. Nowadays, you have so much flexibility on the attack and defensive lineup, but not every player has been in a situation where you have to think really deep about these things because the system is so easy.
So what you're telling me here is that in order to really delve into and make the most of this new ban system, you have to have high IQ. That's what you're telling me. You have
to have high IQ. The thing is, right, this is where you look at Falcons, and they run as BDS last year, and Leaguefac, the captain of this team. He might have one of the highest game IQs that we have seen in recent history. Him, Park Assemble, both teams, you know, with Furia, former WSNM, coming to the rise, winning or making a bunch of grand finals. They can call for their teammates and go, guys, I have a strat. You know, you go play this operator, you go play that operator, go in this position, I'll give you a countdown, 3, 2, 0, then use your gadget. It's very common to have 1 or 2 players in a team that have that higher level understanding who can kind of tell the other players what they envision from them, and as long as they listen correctly, they can execute a strat from somebody else's mind perfectly.
Yeah. That's why you need a well-rounded roster, right? It's fine that Shaiko isn't a strategic genius. He's a point-and-shoot player. Like, put him in a tough situation, give him a 30-70 gunfight, and he's going to win it.
He's going to win it.
That's what matters.
It's so frustrating.
The variety. And then you got someone like Leaguefac. He's the brains of the operation.
Yeah. One of my early games against Shaiko, back when they were called B-Genius, for example, I had like a 1v1, I think, on Oregon basement where I was defending, he was attacking. And normally in your head, you're expecting everyone to do something, like play around the diffuser, planning whatever. And I noticed in that very first 1v1 with him, he was just running at me. And there's like, there's no fear. There's just, this guy's going to take you down, and he believes that he's going to win because he does.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You got to shoot straighter, but it's so hard to beat one of the best people at it.
I mean, can you blame him? When he just keeps on winning these fights,
like, no one's punishing this guy. No, he's too good.
He does really send fear into the hearts of his opponents.
Nesk was the same back then. Nobody could stop Nesk during his prime. He had 2 drones beneath his feet and an Ashe ACOG. I wouldn't want to fight him. I would rather run away and die to the drone.
That's right. Now, speaking of operator bans, we are on the attacking side, and that Deimos has not been banned on out. We have the Capital pick for now from Shaiko, but of course, we are back into the round. Apologies for that brief technical pause that we got to. A few growing pains with the new client. Of course, we're playing Siege X. We are playing the new version of the game. It is so exciting because that means there's so much change. You look at the game and you see immediately the lighting is different. We've had such a beautiful makeover of this game that we've been playing for 10 years now. On top of that, we've had balancing changes, which we've kind of alluded to a little bit. The Jaeger change, among others. And, of course, a slew of new additions to the game. One thing that we haven't talked about much, on air at least, is the ingredients, the map ingredients. There are a few of those, the smoke, like the smoke canisters, the fire hydrants.
Yeah, fire hydrants.
Fire hydrants that detonate as smoke grenades.
Gas pipes.
And the gas pipes, which of course do change a little bit. Situation, extremely situational.
Yeah. There can be a case where it's massively impactful, other times where it doesn't matter as much. That right there is a Goyo Vulcan canister being popped early in the round.
There was a gas pipe there we saw for a brief moment in Lounge. Lukafac very early on, 30 seconds in, but he's been flanked. That's a good kill from Dash. A new addition here to Wildcard, major champion himself, back in the W7M days. Meanwhile, a great juggle from Kansan. Does take a little bit of damage to the drone hole from Bride. But as it stands, Falcons are looking a little bit silly. Opening kill already for Wildcard.
I like this, Michael, though. They're denying walls on the roam clear while also actively roaming. Sort of a great shot onto Bay there, getting 1 kill back for his team. Look at the attack and operators, right? Dogebi, Heartbreacher, Capital, Grim, and then Grenades. No matter who you kill from the attack and lineup, massive in value. And you've lost a Lesion, right? Half of those crew mines already on the ground. He's starting to set up on the bomb side. So I'm not surprised to see Wildcard playing aggressive here. The question is, do they want to take that 1-for-1 trade and now fall back, or are they going to stick their ground on the roam and look for more?
Users will have one of those Dokkaebi logic bombs very shortly as well. Good pre-fire there from Shaiko. He takes a bit of damage but does not confirm that kill onto that roamer. Logic bomb to detonate. Users looking to encircle these roamers. Spiker gets back to site safely, but the same cannot be said for Kansan as he is finished off by Bride. That said, Wildcard may have done enough damage as the clock is dwindling here for Falcons.
They got those Goyo canisters. The roll now from Wildcard, very spread across. One player Kansan solo on the CCTV side, Dash solo on the master bedroom side, Spiker downstairs. Look at this.
Whooping max!
That's a 1v1 on your screen, but you had users on Dokkaebi behind him on the windows making pressure as well, and you had the Dokkaebi call come in earlier. So great adaptation of Falcons saying, okay, it's not going to be at the wall, breaches. It's going to be about kills right now. Get inside the building. Solotov found 2 in the round. Relay found the 3rd as well.
So do debutants in Spiker and Baby Shark going to have to try and hold the site against the might of Falcons. Bit of a toss to C4. Spiker feeling a little bit nervy. Still a lot of time here to waste. Falcons, they're not rushing this. Wow. They need to be careful. They need to formulate a plan. Lukafac from the grave calling out to his team. 25 seconds left to go. Shaiko to throw down another one of those smokes as Solotov looking for an entry. Bride has made this a 4 versus 1, and poor Spiker here on Arsenal looking for something. Does not see the players, and Solotov will close the round. Falcons may have been slow, but they will not be bloodied. A single player to die, and a great opening start here for Falcons.
So we know this roster of Falcons, they have slow starts to tournaments overall. They almost always lose their first match. And what I just witnessed just speaks to the respect they have towards Wildcard. Because Wildcard, they are a bit of an unknown team right now. It's their first time at this event. It's the first time that we've seen, or second day rather, it's the first time we've seen the org play on this roster. And in this 4 versus 2 that we just witnessed, Falcons, they took a 20-second timer, said, you know what, let's just get everybody in the right position, get the utility use, get the fire, the smoke, and then peek them 3 versus 1, 2 versus 1, and just pay respects. If Falcons, they rush through that last 20-30 seconds of the round, they can easily just kind of fall apart and not clear the right angles, and then they throw it, essentially. So they're saying, you know what, Wildcards, they're the real deal. We should win this round with a man advantage. Let's play correctly.
Yeah. Great read there from Falcons. They were not looking great at the start of that round. First blood for Wildcard.
Yeah.
And a bandit juggle successful when the only hard breach, dedicated hard breach that you bring to the table is Thermite.
10 seconds to insert.
But then I think, yeah, Wildcard got a little bit too egregious on that roam. Dash in particular, that felt like a defining moment for me. When Dash fell on the top floor in construction, Falcons really had the round in their hands. And then even as you said, respect given, they're not going to rush in a 4v2. They're going to make sure that they do slow pushes, go together, make sure that they don't...
Just don't cut any corners, really, right?
Exactly. So a good start here for Falcons.
I do want to see Wildcard play a bit closer together, especially if you see that early Dokkaebi call like last round. If a teammate falls in a very deep aggressive roam, you're going to drop your phone on the ground, they can hack it, and they get full camera access. So we know right now, as spectators, there is no Dokkaebi in this particular round. The Wildcard, they don't know that just yet, most likely. So once they get an idea of what the attack lineup is, either you can play very spread apart or play very close together, but that's where the multi now from Breeder comes into play. This is not an operator where you don't want to give isolated kills on the defensive side against the multi, because he can find you, run you down, have a gun behind him, and you're basically playing 2 versus 1. Little mini play, secondary EMPs from Munty with leak effects on the Thermite. They're going to try and get this wall opened up. We know there's no bandit there. It's cancelled on the Frost, and okay, the fire as well, tripling down.
Yeah, fire, Twitch, and the EMP
and the Twitch
to guarantee that wall was successfully opened.
That's high IQ.
Yeah, it is high IQ.
And it's Shaiko on the Twitch, by the way.
Of course it is. And you do have to be careful when all you've got is that Thermite. You can't waste an exothermic charge. You can't afford for it to be juggled by Spiker. And now Falcons are poised to put some serious pressure onto this CCTV and cache side of the map. This player on Rafters is now trapped.
They have a really good read here. Get Munty in that garage door, get up on the rafters. This guy should be as good as dead. Oh, the Frost trap! Oh no! Frost trap for it!
Breeder, that is a dangerous mistake to make, and Users has been baited into Spiker. Bay's found a second one as well. Hungry for more, he's peeking outside of that CCTV breach, and it leaves just Leakafak and Shaiko left to pick up the pieces of what looked to be a solid round for Falcons and has now gone promptly down the toilet.
Disaster. Bay should have been a free kill. Munty stabilizes Shaiko with a good kill inside the bomb side. Sees a second, gets shot down.
Leakafak, nothing to do. 3K for Bay on Rafters. And a very vicious reply from Wildcard. Looking 0-2 strong on that gym defense with a very effective roam, and the Rafters hold at that. Oh no. Falcons are going to be kicking themselves. Breeder cannot be affording to walk into frost maps on that Montaigne.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to say, the Siege X client, made it harder, but it is a bit darker now to see the things inside the game. Breeder might not have checked it as thoroughly as he normally would, because if it's brighter in the old build and a little bit darker in the new build, you might just miss it. You gotta open your eyes, Breeder. You gotta turn up the brightness, double check. The only way Munty dies there is through a frost round.
Yeah. That was a clutch pick from Kansan on that frost. Really solid.
But they knew they had a frost, right? Because the Twitch drone was inside the bomb site, spotting the frost running away. So it's not even like they didn't know there was a frost. Maybe it was miscommunicated.
Lack of composure from Falcons.
Yeah.
Even the fact that I believe it was Users immediately died afterwards at the bottom of Garage because he's like, oh crap, my Monty's just died, I need to push.
Yeah.
And then caught out by Spiker. It's really good to see, of course, Bay, Spiker, and Baby Shark. They're the 3 debutants on this wildcard roster. They have never played at an international event before. Dash and Kansan, of course, with a plethora of experience, especially Dash in recent history. Kansan, it's been a while since him on Sonics made an appearance at an international event. But this wildcard roster is full of young talent, and let's be honest, we were all pretty skeptical. We were like, oh, they're a partner team, so they get invited to reload, but are they good enough? We talk about them in the similar vein of Cloud9 and Fnatic. It's like, would this team qualify for events if it wasn't a direct invite? And look, if Wildcard can put up a solid show against Falcons, then they're certainly changing that conversation.
Absolutely. Now again, hard breaching will be a very big focus point for this attack right now because the operator bends. Now the Maverick being brought out. And I think the general vibe right now is the attack is spending a lot of time and resources early in the round to get the first step done, right? Breach the wall, get your drone set up, that's step 1 done. Whereas in a normal game of Clubhouse or a different game of Clubhouse, you can just instantly pop open those walls with a Thatcher, breach, whatever, and it's done in 5 seconds. So this means Falcons, they will have a slow start to the round. It's about how quick can they now ramp up. For example, the first 60 seconds, we've done the same thing outside the building. What's going to happen in the following 60 seconds is very important because the lower that timer gets, the more troublesome it will become. We spoke of earlier, Capital infection with the Jaeger. You can now play Spiker on Capital Raptors, and if he does have any ADSs, he should be safe from Capital bullets.
I don't actually believe that he does have ADS.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah. He is feeling that pressure. I mean, this is a CCTV cache defense, so he is instrumental. Meanwhile, Dash has found a kill, and I'm not entirely sure where that was. Seemingly a roam, perhaps peeking outside of that pool table window. I can only assume.
Yeah, there's a gap.
Yeah, and now as a result, Leakafak is going to move on in. He's the core player from down at the bottom of Rafters, uses to come and support. Is there adequate protection for this Rafters player? The Army Keeper barriers being
swapping mags.
Ticked away by Leakafak's DMR, and we can see there is the ADS from Kansan. He pops up and he takes down Leakafak. A solid headshot, and still Wildcard retained control despite the flames, despite the fire. Eventually Solotop to claim that kill, and a second one. The over-aggression punished from Wildcard, but they keep their heads above the water. Kansan to find another one. Breeder will eventually fall as well. Wildcard hold firm onto the rafters.
It's a very simple defensive lineup and strat from Wildcard, but it is oh so effective, right? They're baiting the second player. He had the ADSs. They didn't draw out that corner. They couldn't. So both fires spent very early on. Then they realized, oh snap, there's Jaeger as well. Let's flashbang him. Gets caught by the ADS. He swings out, gets another kill. This right here, it's these small moments that have massive impact for Wildcard that will just literally make them win in an instant. If you don't take out Raptors on a CCTV attack where the focus is taking Garage, you're not going to win the round as an attacker.
I believe that was a 3K from Kansan
Yeah.
Jaeger as well. Really doubling down with the Azami and the Jaeger on that position of Rafters. Proved to be a really good decision there from Wildcard. Now, of course, as we're 3 rounds deep, we have that third operator ban for each team. Falcons deciding to get rid of that bandit, and Wildcard deciding to get rid of that Twitch. Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, they're thinking the same thing right now. We saw the Twitch, and I think it's a genius approach from Falcons to clear out ADSs, the bandit batteries, Goyo canisters, all bits of utility. Them targeted saying that we're doubling down on util again. Now they can play one mine very comfortably because how are you going to clear this out with guns, right? Same with the Jaeger, the Goyo, the mute jammers. It's very much a game of intel.
But at the very least, Falcons don't have to worry about countering that bandit anymore.
That's true.
That was one of the things, one of the many jobs that Twitch had.
Yeah, now I will say this though, for the roam queue at least, this is now where Thermite can finally shine. You cannot mute jam a Thermite charge on a repellable wall. So this CC wall, there's a jammer on it. Thermite can go on the repel on the top part and just pop the wall open up. So what this means now is that the roam should be quicker in the early stages of the round for Falcons, giving them more time and more resources to focus on the actual roam clear after the wall is opened up.
And what's more, we've got Brede on his infamous Deimos. We've got Usus as well on the Dokkaebi. We're going to see exactly what you were saying. That new jammer completely ineffectual. Boop. Yeah, very well done from Falcons. This is not their first rodeo whatsoever.
I like the fact that the jammer's on the wall. I feel like you can make the argument that it's not worth it. I do think, you know, it is going to slow down just a little bit more. But you can argue that if those drones are inside the building to help the roamers survive more, could also be better. Bay falls early in bottom garage, I believe.
Yeah, he did it.
Swinging it very aggressively.
Did you see that Shaika actually did a little bit of damage through the wall from inside a stock?
Okay.
Just pre-firing. I mean, that is game sense, if I've ever seen it. And it did flush out the player. And now Spiker is in an awkward position. He's got some Kiva barriers to protect him here in secret, but he will likely fall off before too long, especially as prompted by that logic bomb. Meanwhile, Dash is going to take out Usus.
There's no
I don't know where that was, but no longer having to worry about those future Dokkaebi calls is going to be a blessing for Wildcard.
I heard a frost trap like clunk sound and then Usus was injured, but there's no frost in the board. I'm not sure what happened there, but he's dead. Dokkaebi early in the grave, yeah. So far, they're still favoring Falcons, of course. Still got Deimos, though, helps out a ton. They know that final quote-unquote roamer that they were looking for is now downstairs inside of blue. And plenty of time for the attack.
We still have Kansan upstairs.
We do, and the jammer has saved him because he wasn't called by the Dokkaebi call. And
I actually have a feeling Falcons are unaware of this mute on the top floor.
I don't think they know.
For Kansan, he's a very slow operator. And now with the numbers being dwindling for Falcons, this is Kansan's time to shine. He has made his way all the way back down the main stairs. Okay.
Got one there. He's safe.
Unusual, but regardless, Falcons now poised to push on the site. Again, the target onto Baby Shark, who's already low HP.
Yeah, I think when they got that kill to make it a 3-3, it was better for the Kansan to go back on the bomb side together, but Baby Shark swings aggressively again, now also injured. He comes out. I don't think it's going to finish the job. Oh, it is that. Wow.
Quite an arm there from Shaiko, and it found another player as well. Brede now finishes him off. It's all up to Spiker out of nowhere. Falcons on the back of it. Genius play from Shaiko, and guess what? He's going to close the affair as well. The 1-2-3 from the GOAT himself. Falcons looking extremely solid on that attack of the basement.
If I'm a player of Wildcard there, I'm going to shake my head and say, why did we do that? And then I'm going to say, Baby Shark, why did you do that, right? You call Kansan back from the top floor roam to play it out 3 versus 3. Before that, when the roam was very active, he was looking for a play, it was 3 versus 4. They needed like a hero play somewhere. They get the kill, Kansan falls back, they sacrifice the roam game only for Baby Shark to jiggle peek with 20 health against the player on blue staircase while Deimos tracked. He gets injured. The nade was ridiculous, by the way. into the pixel angle.
as well.
It got a kill, and it got the injured because his teammate was running over to revive him. Baby Shark's little mishap there arguably cost Wildcard the round.
You got your beta. That's the nature of the Deimos, right? Because you think, oh, I know where he is now. I'm just going to peek him. You forget that he can see you, and he's actually got more info because it's a live ping onto you. And it's bloody Shaiko.
I was going to say, it's a 3v3. There's like 50 seconds left. You're giving up the roam, and you're aggro peeking Shaiko while Deimos check with 20 health.
And he's got the Deimos pistol, which farms.
Respect your opponents a little bit there, right? You want to lure in Falcons into those crossfires in bottom blue when you have defenders in different positions. That's when you shut down. Then you can bait Shaiko, track in the player while a second defender kills him. Now you just ego swing really far angle 1v1.
So you're telling me that play from Shaiko with the Deimos, with the pistol, with the grenade, like that was pure mechanics. There was no intelligence there.
I mean, he held the angle, he had the red dot in front of him like the Deimos tracker. It was Baby Shark making the wrong play. And not the thing is, if you flip it and Baby Shark was the Deimos and Shaiko was swinging with 20 health, Shaiko would have hit the one time. That's the difference right there. It's the wrong play, but Shaiko would have won in that scenario.
I'm just debating you.
I know you are, but I have to take the bait. No, I hate rage speed.
You have to bite. You have to bite.
It's like a dog with a bone. This is free again. Kansen has not bothered putting jammer on the wall again because Thermite can just go on the upside down lapel, so those jammers are spent elsewhere inside the building for a more high value. For example, the bathroom wall, most likely. Is that very soft or am I...
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
The left wall was not soft.
Okay.
It's just, the reinforcement little studs are kind of hard to see. This is a good drone from Shaiko going all the way down to the kitchen. He does spot Spiker, and I believe he was aware that it was a Valkyrie as well.
Surely.
He also spotted a pre-placed nitro cell somewhere. Hello, what's going on here?
Hey.
Leakafak is using his Gon 6 to get quickly into Strip to go and cut off that player downstairs. I don't think Spiker has any clue.
He has Diffuser though. If Leak Effect dies here, that would be massive.
Needs to drop it. Shaiko, meanwhile, has fallen. Aggressive play. He does spot him out and take down Spiker. Good from Leakafak. Now up the main stairs. Meanwhile, it seems like Wildcard are fortifying their positions back on the side. Baby Shark using those keeper barriers to fortify his own spot to back a Master. But Shaiko has fallen. And Solotov on this Monty is trying to be that extra prong on the attack for Falcons, who have now looked to leverage their position at the top of main stairs. Solotov goes in with the Monty. He spots out Dash, but he falls in the crossfire. Wildcard are maintaining their control. Both teams bloodied. A 3v2 Dash on a sliver of HP eventually will fall to Leakafak. A triple kill for the Capitao as he looks to plant this diffuser, and he uses having to cover now with the Grim. But that diffuser has now been planted, and it forces Wildcard for a retake. These 1v1s starting to go in favor of the defense as Kansen forces Leakafak to ace up in the 1v2.
See if he has what it takes. Holds the first angle, sees the wiggle, goes passive instead, baits him in.
And now Leakafak has to land this shot. He knows where he is, and Kansen to jiggle it again! The Clutch King, of course, is cool. He doesn't even care about it. He denies that round from Falcons and puts Wildcard back into the driver's seat of this game.
Oh man, there's so much happening in that round from the very get-go. I mean, it was the defense playing perfect corner play with the attack of Falcons trying to just get them out of those positions. Mixture of Capital fire with Capital flanking downstairs, using his fire upstairs, Mungie pushing to the bomb side, but Wildcard, they had a trade or an answer at every single turn of that round. Then they get the plant down. Leakavak gets 3 kills in that round. It's a 2v2. It's looking really good for Falcons because we saw red pings and yellow pings across the entire bomb side. They had so much information. Then Kansen, he just wide swings off this, shuts down their first attacker, and puts it back into a 2v1 favoring Wildcard. But this right here, Baby Shark and Dash playing together, shutting down the Munty, that is the turning point for Wildcard because that Munty would have been a huge problem if he would have stayed alive. Also, we saw the gas pipe having massive impact, by the way. In the 2v2 that the plant was going down, they shut the pipe instead of connecting the door to master bedroom, and it stopped the defenders from pushing in aggressively. So the office was a 1v1, which Kansen won.
A lot of hype in the post-round camera as well from Dash. Of course, major champion, formerly of W7M. He's spent a lot of time in Brazil, which is, of course, his home region, and the strongest region for Rainbow Six. That's not even a conversation. Brazil are the best at Rainbow Six. And now he's found a new home in North America, and
well, we're still in Brazil, James. Pardon? We're still in Brazil, James.
We are. It's on home turf. It means that Wildcard will have a little bit of the crowd support should they make it to the top 8. But Dash, by far and away, like the most standout player on this roster. Like, you look at the names and you're like, oh, I remember Kansas from a few years ago, but Dash, that's your big hitter. And I think you need a little bit of that fragging capability on Wildcard when you've got 3 rookies who, to be fair, haven't played poorly. I don't want to throw shade.
They held their own, for sure.
But Dash that round, he was instrumental. His big 3K inside of Bathroom was what caused Wildcard to have that advantage.
I want to say that my big question mark for this matchup and for Wildcard as a team is fundamentals and communication. They looked very sharp in what they want to do fundamentally from a strategical perspective. And in that previous round, how they played the 2v2s and the 2v1s, very like high in communication as well. All these small mini plays, now Baby Shark baiting with support of Kansan as well, looking for a 2v1. There's the Blackbeard though, hard to kill him. C4 goes out, nothing.
Does detonate that gas pipe though, so no support for a brief moment for users in connector. That said, Solotov, of course, on the Grim, he can try and do some damage from Logistic, cut off any aggression. I think Wildcard will be happy to just fall back to side though. Yeah,
but are you? I mean, you've lost all the wall deny, sure you got the Jaeger, but that's for CCTV Catwalk Rafters. This is what I think the team should be doing. Go for Master Bedroom Connector Wall. This should be an absolute free breach. You got the Blackbeard for site information, for potential plant later on. You got 4 flashbangs, like you got grenades. This is a perfect attack from Falcons strategically, but will it fall apart to a flanker? 2 guys on drones.
No. Is anybody watching for it? Likafak seems to be aware. A bit of a spray, but Likafak actually saves Dash by detonating the fire extinguisher at just the right moment to prevent Solotov from going for that kill. Dash is lucky to get away with his life, but low HP and Wildcard have lost a player. User seems to be lagging out, so Falcons might unfortunately lose a player. And Shaiko and Users have both fallen. Solotov and Likafak to find kills onto the side, leaving just the Clutch King of Kansan and the core fragger of Dash to hold on for Wildcard.
The Grim Beast still gonna spot players out. Nate as well have a really good idea of this. A team kill comes through, a trade at least. Breeder goes down, 2v1 off for Kansan, 30 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, but he's the Clutch God. He knows how to hold firm in these scenarios. Likafak already low HP, and there's info on the side. Don't overswing this! Solotov, you've left Likafak all alone. Now he has to clutch up. Kansan baits it out. Likafak looking for a little more. Oh, and a little tap on the behind as well. Leaves Kansan on low HP. Likafak with the pistol. He comes through for Falcons when he's needed, and the scoreline is once again even.
And that is why Likafak is my goat. The IGL, the planter, plays the hard support, gets the 1v1 Deagle with pistol, gets it done. Kansan, small mishap, ran to the chassis there. Hate to see that for him, but I will say this. It looked like Users had a disconnect right before execute happened. That could have been a much cleaner, more precise round. Falcons had to make the adaptation. The second User says, guys, I'm crashing. And then they say, okay, we gotta hit the bomb site aggressively. The plant is not gonna be ordinary. We gotta go for plan B or plan C right now. And it took them 2 seconds, no hesitation. They just full committed for it. And that's, again, where Falcons, they are adaptable. And I think, again, in big praise there to Likafak, who calls the strats typically.
Yeah. He does call a lot of strats, but... Oh, we're gonna hear some...
No talking.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were telling me to
No, sorry.
I was like, did I just get shushed by my co-cousin?
I would never.
It's a technical pause, so yes, we're obviously Users disconnected again. I believe it was actually Users that was having issues at the start of the game as well.
Yeah, it looked like it, yeah.
Wasn't being able to get into the lobby, so now he's disconnected again, unfortunately, lagged out of the game, it seems. And yeah, as you said, the players are not allowed to talk during technical pauses.
And it's funny because like I feel like that's the rule for every event, but then sometimes I feel like it's okay that they're talking a bit, sometimes it's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just saw Solotov saying something.
Yeah, Likafak's talking. Maybe they can talk non-gaming stuff.
That's
like,
what I've heard.
What did you have for breakfast, guys? You know?
Exactly. No, that definitely looks game-related. It does. I've heard also sometimes the admins say they can talk, but not about certain things. Because the admins are listening in the call. That said, Wildcard's not talking, so I don't know what's up.
I will say though, for Wildcard again, when Dash hit for the main stairs flank there, we only really saw the play happening on his portion of the map. What happened on the connector side was 2 defenders, Kansan and someone else. They swung into connector and aggressed as well, because the comes from Falcons, guys, we're getting flanked. 2 guys turned their attention away, leaving the front side kind of weak.
Genius.
That combined with Users crashing meant there was somebody watching it.
Yeah.
But then when Users died, that was actually the warning sign for them aggressing the bomb site door. So they kill a guy who's crashed, he doesn't matter, and then the teammate next to Users turns around and gets the kill as well. So just my point is there, Wildcard, they don't just make a solo play like Dash flank and Mainsters trying to get lucky on the flank kill. No, it was deliberate 3-2-1 timing, let's all aggress together. If one side comes out victorious, we'll take that.
Yeah. Oh, to be frank, I was not expecting a lot out of Wildcard this tournament, and obviously I haven't been casting the NA region, so I haven't been highly aware of what the roster has achieved in the last year. Like, I mean, I looked at their results, right? So last year, Stage 2, they were 5th, Stage 1, they were 7th. So I will say that's a bit of a glow up. To be 7th place when you're competing with teams like SSG, M80, and the like, even Shopify Rebellion, of course.
Great.
Yeah, a
Dark
lot of
Zero. Come on, get them all out there.
Yeah,
See?
never heard of that team.
No, I think Bolo might have played there for one time, but now he's gone, so it doesn't matter. They're irrelevant now, right?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wildcard, like obviously they've been all right. They've been like middle pack in
Middle lower
pack in NA, and so coming to this event, I think understandably had fairly low expectations. They've already exceeded my expectations. Like, yeah, okay, 7-1 against Scars yesterday. That's taken with a grain of salt because Scars are looking in shambles right now. Yeah. But Wildcard coming through here, they were up 3-2. Now it's 3-3. This is a pretty solid position to be in. They've played good Siege.
Yeah, they have.
Like you said, they've played very coordinated, especially for a team with one Frenchman and one Brazilian.
That's the big thing.
On a North American roster. I've been really impressed. I don't know what Dash's English is like. It must be pretty good if he can play with them like this. I was actually catching the shuttle with them this morning, so I was having a little chat to them. Baby Shark, I'm obviously not very aware of his history.
Oh, I met him in the elevator.
His English is great.
Yeah, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's solid. Probably better than our farmers, I think.
As Alfama sat on the desk, Baby Shark and him did the same thing. They went to the easier region of North America, only to get, what did Alfama say, worst rated player that season or something?
Well, can I just say, Alfama, he went to NA, he came last, he got relegated or something, and then he went to APAC and did terribly as well.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But he's the GOAT. That's the thing. You have to remember this. Alfama, great person, first of all. Not everyone's a great person, but he's a great person.
1 out of 10.
Funny, charismatic, very smart, you know, in a different life. I could see myself be good friends with him.
In a different, you're not
on a romantic level. He's such a nice guy.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. If I saw Alfama on a dating app, I would swipe right.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I agree.
No question. And he's a man of culture as well. He'd probably bring a nice bottle of wine.
He would bring a nice bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's also, like, I play rank with him sometimes in Europe as well, and he's just, like, he has that old school style brain for the game, where it's a lot about playing together, setting up those mini plays.
Support mindset.
Yeah, support mindset is just, like, he understands that he himself could make a play that's 50-50 and take a 50% chance of winning, or you can say, hey, somebody come with me, let's make it 75% win rate, for example, and just always play the numbers game. That's not necessarily like the current style of Siege at the highest level. It's a much more adaptable, flexible, and a bit more like playing off the field, I think, sometimes nowadays. But it's enjoyable for me as an old school timer to play with other old school time players sometimes.
Yeah. And then you guys end up every round trying to plan with 10 seconds to go.
Yeah.
You lose on time.
Yeah, and then like something silly happens, and it's like, oh, we didn't account for that, and we just lost the round now.
I feel like when you play that structured Siege, you're more likely to have arguments. I don't know if that's your experience.
No, you are 100%.
Definitely in my experience. Like, I've played a lot of ranked with Guz, my dear friend, and we always try and play like really methodically.
Yeah.
And then we just always argue because we're like,
there's so many
no, the strat was bad. No, you just played it wrong. Blah, blah, blah.
And the beautiful thing about playing a team game like this is you have different perspectives.
Yeah.
Fabi and I, back when we were playing together, we would play the same round and get the same outcome and have vastly different experiences of what went wrong in the round. For me, it was, oh, this guy didn't hold the right angle, so the C4 just, went through and killed the Panther. Fabian's like, we didn't attack it correctly because there's no pressure on blue. I'm like, well, the blue pressure wouldn't matter if the C4 was shot midair. Yeah. So you have all these different views of it, and it's also why it's important in a team to have people who are they're just spectators, right? When you have a debate going on, like Goga, for example, Kanto would rarely get involved. And that allows more breathing room for someone like Fabi and myself, Junas, to get very critical of each other. Whereas if you have 5 guys who all want to fight each other, not good. But if nobody has an opinion and nobody has an idea of what went wrong, it's just silence, and it's also bad.
Yeah, you need that balance, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need 2 to 3 players on your team that have a lot of opinions.
Yes, I would
but
say
also
so.
need to know how to shut up. And you need some players on your team like Shaiko who are just like, look, I'm just going to tell you what I want to do. Like, I just want to play Deimos and go and hunt this guy. Or you tell me where you need me and I'll point and shoot me.
Yes, I think it was, I'm not sure it was Fresh or Alpha, whatever. Like, we talked a lot about the Shaiko situation because of today's content and such. And obviously, it comes down to he's the perfect soldier.
Yeah.
And I always will draw the line comparison from Shaiko to Kento, because Kento was the kind of player way back in the day that Shaiko very much is today. You say, Shaiko, go here, do this job. He says, okay, I will do my best at doing this job.
Yeah.
And very often he'll be successful at it.
Because Kanto was one of the most mechanically talented players in the game at the time.
Kento would destroy everybody like Shaiko is right now as well. It's the same kind of player mentality where they just have this thing that they are so good at, and you are a fool of a team if you don't build around them.
Totally.
And that's why we've seen every iteration of BDS, the French, the international one. Shaiko has always been in the same mold, and you build around what he can do with it. And that's where Leaky Fact came in, replacing Alimsh as the IGL. And I think he had that like newer, younger view of the game to say, we gotta play more quick pace, we gotta play more aggressive together. Whereas Alimsh is maybe a bit more structured in like how to plan and how to get things done.
Lems is also a lurker, right? Which I think changed the situation a bit.
Yeah, probably as well.
He liked to be on the front line despite liking to have that leadership role. It's
Yeah.
a big input.
And I like that Leaky Fact as a player can both play the backstabbing Capital, like on the gym attack, which like, why is Capital flanking main stairs? Like, your gadget useless now, and you can give him a shield, a heart breacher, an injury, it doesn't matter. And same with Canadian on Dark Zero, when he was there, he's no longer, he's a Chopper for Rebellion now, he would play like Jackal Entry or a really aggressive roaming Pulse of Valkyrie, and he would die first in almost every single round. And then you think to yourself, well, he's a bad player, he's being silly. No, he can call the perfect strat from the grave a lot easier than if he's alive and to worry about his own gameplay. So get him in the game early. If he gets a kill, phenomenal. If not, Troy could still lead from the grave. Like we saw Leaky Fact in the very first round. He died very early, he called the strat perfectly, they won the first round.
That's why you don't want 5 Leaker Facts on your team, and you don't want 5 Shaikos on your team.
No, that would be
you
terrible.
Want 1 Leaker Fact, 1 Shaiko, 1 Breeder, and then a couple of more Shaikos. Like Users is very similar to a Shaiko. He's mostly a point-and-shoot player. I understand that he also has a bit more of a vocal role on the team, but
yeah, I think Solotov, when I was watching them last year's BDS,
I was talking a lot.
There was like, I'm not sure if it was Boston or a different event, but there was a tactical timeout where we could kind of heal the players, and Solotov was like, League of like, let me take the wheel on this one. Let me call this. I know how to counter this. Because the enemy was like spamming shields or whatever on the attacking side. And we saw Solotov take leadership with permission from Leaky Fact, and they came back from a round deficit into a round victory. And I didn't think Solotov would be that kind of player. And I wasn't sure if Leaky Fact would have... I see him as extremely humble. And I was about love it. He's super successful, super humble.
Takes a lot to seed that power.
It does, and say, you know what? I'm the IGL and the captain. I'm going to trust you with my job and my role, and I'm not going to blame you if you lose. It's still on me, even if you call the strat. And they came back victorious, and it showed me a much fuller BDS, or now Falcons, whereas if you go way back in the day, it was a one-man team. It was Shaiko's world. And then Breeday came. Biggest upgrade ever. RXWD into Breeday. Oh my god, the player
swap. Like this support goat, clutch king.
I mean, Breeday is world-class, and RXWD was a bit of a meme player. There's this clip where he played IQ on Clubhouse Basement Blue Stairs, and the enemy was playing Echo on defense, and the drone was going up and down, and RX was like trying to hit the drone with his IQ pistol, and he whiffed the whole magazine, and he just walked away. He was like, I'm not hitting this Echo drone.
I think I saw that.
And it's such a funny clip.
That's great.
That's an old one.
But yeah, just in terms of like talking about people's strengths and roles, and you mentioned Kanda Raketti in comparison to Shaiko, it's always really interesting to me to see how players evolve over their career, because of course, Kanta Raketti, he was like the mechanical GOAT point-and-shoot player. But as he got older, he was no longer the mechanical GOAT. He was put onto supportive roles, and he couldn't have that impact because he just didn't have the support DNA in him. He didn't have the leadership DNA in him. And that, I think, is maybe alluding to the criticism that you were talking about Shaiko before. Like, if in a few years Shaiko is no longer mechanically as sharp and he had to adapt and go into support, like, for example, Canadian did, or like a lot of other Fragger 2 support pipelines, Shaiko probably wouldn't be able to do it.
He's not the highest level, at least, right? He'll be able to do it, but I don't think he would have the agency.
On a world-class team like
exactly.
he is now.
Exactly, and that's the thing, that's the impressive part that people always make. Shaiko this, Shaiko that, whatever. It's about longevity and consistency. And for how well he's been doing it, and for how long he's been doing it, that's the most impressive part, consistency.
Few players can be at the top of their game as an entry fragger for as long as Shaiko has, and seems to be slowing down not at all anytime soon. Of course, Falcons versus Wildcard, we're 3-3 at the end of the first half. We're going to go to a short break, but we'll be back in just a few minutes, so please don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in a moment.
Ué, tá perdido? Tô mesmo. Então vem com a gente.
Yes, we will! W7ers! They cement themselves as one of the greatest of all time!
Any day I walk through the fire, go hard when the stakes are higher, never lose with a strong desire. Only way to go up, go higher. Any day I walk through the fire. Let's go. La 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 la, let it burn. Let's go. La 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 la, let it burn. Let's go. La 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 la, let it burn. Yeah, burn, baby, burn. Walk through the fire. I see the tears from wanting to rain. I put better than different conditions. I prefer to go through it no pain. Crash in the pain. That's about the least of my concerns. I just get up and get back to business till I get to missing you. I'ma stand out, don't need a handout. Just need to stand up and get my hands dirty. Tomorrow, I promised I wanted it yesterday. That's why I'm showing up, man. Time on my hands in a mind of a minute. Won't stop at the pinnacle. I'm never finished. You trying to see something phenomenal? This is what I'ma do. Promise you, I'm gonna walk through the fire.
Welcome back to Reload here. We're playing Siege X, the brand new iteration of Rainbow Six Siege, and we are about halfway through this match, Pengu. It's Team Falcons, the second best team in the world all of last year. They made it to every single grand final and lost every single time when they were under the BDS.
That sounds so negative.
It does, but
it's not.
I mean, like, a lot of people call them the best team in the world.
Yeah, because they had the best year.
Yes.
But they lost the grandest of all, the Invitationals.
Yes, they did, unfortunately. And they're up against Wildcard, who are a kind of mid-lower pack North American team, but with a couple of roster changes, particularly Dash, major champion on W7M. He's looking really solid in this game so far. 3-3 at the half, and that, of course, prompts the side switch. And as a result, we're also getting new operator bans. Thanks to this new operator banning system. So Falcons move on to their defense. They ban 2 attackers. They're going to get rid of the Maverick and the Ace. So that means we've had a hell of a lot of hard breach bans so far. It was Ace Hibana first?
It was Ace Hibana in the first one.
And then what was the third one they ended up
The third one ended up being Twitch on the attacking side, and then Bandit on the defense.
Yeah, and it's funny because seeing Wildcard now switching on the attack, they don't want to deal with any kind of electricity at all. They've taken out both the Kaid and the Bandit. So yeah, it's so fascinating to see.
Kind of interested in Falcons because the thing is, I feel like Maverick, Thermite on Clubhouse probably has the highest value factor because again, Thermite will just like go through the meat jammers and use not uses Goldeneye. I don't know. I feel like if you have Ace or Hibana open, yeah, Hatch is gonna suck, but you can't really get past the mute jammers whatsoever without playing EMPs or Thatcher. So, regardless, yeah, very wall-oriented map so far. And I feel like there's 2 ways Clubhouse will normally play. Either you play around Goldeneye and hard-breaching operators, or it's gonna be about defender, utility, and then shields on the attacking side. That's like the 2 curves you can go into pretty much.
We don't have the Jaeger here for the defensive side, but I guess that's mainly as a result of this being the basement box side. Of course, we're probably going to see the Jaeger more in those Hell in a Cell facets of the map, like on that top floor.
Yeah.
Speaking of, a bit of a roam clear happening on the top floor. Spiker breaching open this Jacuzzi wall. An extension from Falcons on this top floor. A nice little pop of that fire extinguisher, one of those map ingredients. It really does not last long, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, does the fire. Groove mine goes out. They know Dash inside, but not exactly where he is. A lot of teammates, though.
Information as well for Leak, in fact, but he's feeling a bit of pressure. Baby Shark from outside on the balcony will finish him off. A very solid opening kill there for Wildcard as Falcons start to retreat their own game back to site.
Yeah, and this is the thing. If one player falls early by, being in the wrong position or dying a little bit too ambitiously, you kind of screw over the rest of the team because you can't really stick around all much longer now. Uses? Did he crash again? He didn't even react.
He's out of the game.
Oh, he's actually okay.
After we just spent about 15 minutes getting the poor lad back into the game, Usus he's not having a good one.
I will say, I think it's a better case scenario that he crashed there because otherwise, what was that? He didn't even flinch when he got spiked.
I like how you just froze for a few seconds. It was like Pengu.exe has stopped working. I don't know what I'm watching right now. Look, this has been a very, very good round from Wildcard. Of course, it doesn't help Falcons that they had a player disconnect. Whether or not that happened before or after the kill is kind of a moot point because of leak effect time early. Yeah. This really should be a Wildcard round. There's no two ways about it. Falcons, they have a lot riding on this game, having bet 2 bullets, or rather reloaded 2 bullets coming into this matchup. So Wildcard, there's far less on this round and this game for them, but they're in the driver's seat.
Mind you, we saw the very first round, Falcons 4v2 on the attack, and they took all the time they need to get that perfect bombs that execute when they're going for kills. Wildcard, yes, it should be their round, but if they go too fast or too isolated, they might not pull it through. They get the injure and kill confirm on Solotov with the vert downstairs. Now they got the Monty and Dash, they got the Grim Canister, they got the Fire Capitals. They have all the tools at their disposal. Falcons option, gotta go for broke, go for a crazy swing, go for a crazy kill. That's your only way out of this one.
Shako
1-2.
And Bride also as well. The Goyo Fire dashes down. It's now up to the 3 newbies on the roster for Wildcard at their first international tournament. Shako sneaks through! This guy is a god! Oh, what do you do when Shiko's styling on you like that? He finds the final with the Deagle. This guy does not have 35 IQ. He's a goddamn genius.
Perfect soldier, put him in an unwinnable position, backs against the wall, in a place where you have no right to win, and yet he will win regardless. An ace, a flick and a half of a second kill there in the headshot, a red ping and kitchen from his teammate for the support, a Breed with the fire kill as well.
That was a 2 versus 4.
Yep.
Huge. I think it was a 4K from Shiko.
Technically a 4K from Shiko
because of the
fire got the kill, but he got the damage.
Did he
so
get the down?
That's the thing. I thought he did.
Okay.
But I'm not sure the exact timing. It was a 4K or an ace, depending on how you want to qualify it here.
Kill from Shiko was a bit of aggression.
Got that one,
was
got
that 2K.
Is it, okay, it's 4 kills, I guess, for the kill feed.
Well, the Goyo was off camera, so we don't really know exactly how that worked. Dude, can't believe it.
No, I mean, you said it yourself, Wildcard, they've surely won this round. They had all the tools, they had all the utilities, the Monty, they had so many win conditions.
Leak Effect dies early and uses dies/disconnects. Yeah. There's no way that Shako should be winning that, but he did what he does best.
And this is the thing where Bride comes into play as well. What gives Shiko the space to walk around the main hallway and pick his gunfights as he pleases is 2 things. One, Shiko killed the one attacker that walked down the main staircase. You only send one guy there usually. So when he dies, he has free reign on the bottom main long hallway to just do whatever he does. Then Bride, he's just staying alive inside third tunnel while getting Grim spotted, red pinged, just kind of baiting the players in the blue hats drop into looking in his direction. That's when Shiko walks down the long hallway and gets the flick kill and the second follow-up. And then the chair on top, one of the players watch the Valkyrie camera inside a kitchen, and they are red pinging calling out the guy dropping kitchen hatch. So it's a mixture of allowing Shiko to have space to work, information on where the enemy's attacking from, and Bride playing the bait game for him. Bride knew he doesn't have to get a kill. He just has to stay alive and play that supportive role, and Bride is, again, world-class in that area.
That's right. It's a very underrated skill is the ability to just be a little rat and be untouchable.
well, he's not a rat.
Okay, rat maybe sounds a bit too bad. Being a turtle.
Okay, I like
just
turtle.
slinking back into your shell and like dancing around that bomb site, just being unkillable.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily getting any frags. You're not necessarily fighting.
You're getting
back,
value.
but you're getting huge value, and it's an enabling role as well.
Like,
because
imagine-
it gives space to Shaiko.
Imagine Bride swings the third door and dies. Now you have 3 people looking at Shaco's direction. Because Bride's alive in the red ping,
Exactly.
they're looking left, right, because Bride could have swung.
If that was a 1v4, Shaiko unlikely
I don't think
to
he
win
wins
it.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Why don't we have another look? I believe we've actually have a chance to watch it again, potentially. I just heard a little whisper from the production and say, oh, let's show it again. At the moment, we're just watching users giving a little bit too much grief to his camera. Here's the GOAT himself.
Oh, let's see it, yeah.
Let's see what he can do.
So this kill right there opens things up.
And dropping down the hatch. I mean, he's taking damage from bullets this whole time.
Yeah. Also, the Gory Cannons did get the kill because Shaco didn't shoot auto multi, so it was a 4K.
Okay.
That confirmation.
Never mind. He's no good. Only okay.
Yeah, he's not good enough then. I have a phrase for that thing earlier, right? With the whole like, you don't have to get a kill. Doing nothing is doing something. And I've been living by this my entire career in Siege because simply the act of staying alive provides you with so much as a team in some rounds.
I don't know about you. I mean, well, you're an actual good player. I'm not.
Used to be.
Okay, sure. Let's say that. When I play ranked, which I haven't played as much of recently, but I used to be a bit of a ranked degen.
Okay.
Playing hundreds and hundreds of games a season. And so what I find is, like, from doing our job, like watching the pros play all the time, you just gain so much, like, knowledge of how to play at the top level.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get into ranked, and that's not how the game plays.
No.
And you try and apply it, and, like, so, for example, like, if I'm, like, attacking, I'm, like, thinking about all the different places I could die from, all the different ways a round could go, and it actually makes me overthink too much to the point where you're like you're too shy or you're like checking too carefully. Or as a defender, right, like instead of taking a chance and making a play, you're kind of sitting back and waiting. Or instead of, we'll talk about this yesterday, I can't remember who we were chatting with, but sometimes the best thing is to do nothing because you have to wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and that becomes much more applicable in ranked compared to in pro play. Like in pro play, we see the best players take a lot of risks because they know if Wildcards sit back and relax against Falcons, Falcons are going to convert any advantage. Yeah, right? Because they're such a good team.
You're giving them the advantage basically.
And when you play in your ranked games, like a lot of the time that's not going to happen. Like especially like if you're not in like a full champion stack, let's say you're just chilling in gold with some mates. Yeah. If you're just going to sit back and relax and it's a 5v3, so let's say a 3v5, you know, you're at a disadvantage. Sometimes sitting back and relaxing, doing nothing, as you said, making that decision to do nothing can actually be the better option because if you just wait, you're going to wait for one of your opponents to feed you a 1v1 or to make some kind of mistake.
Yeah, what's that saying? Don't interrupt your opponent when he's about to make a mistake.
Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like we can just sit back and wait, and when the opportunity arises, we will then lash out and make a play. Whereas if you're in a 3v5 and one of your players is like, oh, I'm desperate for a kill, I'm gonna swing, and then you die, now it's a 5v2 or 2v5. The odds of them winning is now even lower than before.
Kind of saw that in the start of this game when Shaiko was playing in blue with the Deimos and he was peeking against Baby Shark in church.
Well, Baby Shark peeked him, but
well, yeah. Well, he was just holding the angle. Yeah. Exactly. Like Shaiko didn't need to make a big play because Baby Shark
made it for him.
Yeah,
almost.
Essentially, like he exposed himself. He made that mistake. Yeah. He allowed Falcons to just sit back and relax and convert an advantage.
That's the beauty of mind games, right? Because obviously with a Deimos striker, like you know where each other you're playing from, but in any scenario, you're holding an angle thinking, if this guy swings the door, I'm going to get a kill because I'm ready for it. However, if you stand holding a dead angle and nobody swings, you're being wasted on the map because you could be doing other things that might be more priced of a higher value.
Exactly.
So tons of mind games back and forth. You got to make the right call and in a fraction of a second. Yeah. I mean, you saw Shaco in that clutch. He hadn't like no hesitation. Yeah. It was 1, 2, 3 ABCs, bang.
Yeah. Speaking of mind games, I mean, there's so many different ways to be smart in Siege.
Yes.
And one of the most genius plays that I have ever seen in Siege happened at Boston. I'm trying to remember which player it was.
What's the play?
It was the guy. It was on Church. It was the guy. Yeah. It was on Church, and he was playing Blitz.
Yeah,
and
he held the angle.
Instead of planting, who?
Handy.
Yeah, I think it might have been Handy. It was definitely a Brazilian player.
It was the face. Was it Face Furia or?
I think it was earlier in the tournament than that.
Okay, might have been.
I have a feeling it was against an NA or an EU team.
Okay, fair. But yeah, it was a Brazilian player who made the play, I believe.
Exactly, and it was a 1 versus 1. It was Blitz versus the defender, and there was no time left.
Yeah.
And Blitz was like kind of near.
It was in blue by the rotate.
Exactly, and like he could have. The assumption here is that he's going to go towards AKs and plant or dummies, and so the defender is just hiding in Moto.
Yeah.
And instead of planting, he just sits there for like 5 seconds holding the angle against Moto. And with like 1 second left on the clock, the player, I think it was it against the now Falcons?
It was
BDS
FaZe
roster?
versus BDS.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
It was Usus maybe.
I think
actually.
Usus or Breed A made the move,
Yeah.
but like you can't even blame them because that was just such a smart.
It's the mind game thing, because the defender's thinking it's almost 0 seconds left. He has to be planting, and I want to get there as fast as possible.
Because in a post plan against the Blitz, you're not going to.
You're not exactly going to win it. So they sprint towards, with 1 second left, and the Blitz like, I can't plant. There's no chance I can win this round. I have to just gamble. He runs into my crosshair, and that's again the mind games of the game. It's beautiful to watch when it happens. Yeah, it was. I'm trying to look for the round on my phone right now. It was indeed FaZe BDS. I'm just trying to figure out the exact players.
We can go and have a look at that off stream. At the moment, we're going to go and have a look at the IGL Summit. We've got 5 of the best IGLs in the game to break things down for you. So let's go and have a look at that, and we'll be back before long with the rest of Falcons versus Wildcard.
Hello guys.
Bonjour.
So Philippox, what's for you to be IGL?
It means to be the most annoying guy in the team, bro.
Oh.
I have to pick up in everyone like.
+1.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's kind of bad, but in some ways it's really good. Like to tell people what to do and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think it's good if you have another guy that can be like that,
Yeah.
that can be like saying, guys, we can't, like individually you can't be doing that, you can't be doing that. Because if you're always the guy, like it feels like they can start being annoying and you don't want to do that, obviously.
And also, you don't want to be the guy that's hated in the team.
Yeah,
So it's like you're always the one telling you, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
So if you're all like on the same page, then it's a lot easier to do your job.
I was saying, like holding everyone to a standard and like understanding, like having an identity, I guess, also is like the IGL is kind of enjoyable at least. So, like your team understands and like buys in, and like you all play a certain way.
I mean, that's where the coach also is good, right? On the aspects, to have a coach that can do some of the hard work of telling people, so you don't have to do everything yourself.
Right now we're the IGLs. We're here, and our team is in the pool in the hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah,
some responsibility.
some
for sure.
responsibility.
Us always working, them. That's what happens.
No, I'm agree with all of you. Also, I think it's high pressure because you have like what about me? I feel like if we lose, I'm mainly the reason why we lose. Because I'm making the decision in game and I'm giving the key and everything.
Yeah, and if you're a good IGL, I think you're going to take the responsibility for the team. You have to take it because you are the one calling the shots. So I agree with you. It's a lot of pressure.
Especially in a game like Siege, like you, like as the IGL, like you are the main problem solver of like understanding like what you want to put like your pieces basically, and like what utility, what you need to clear, to help you enable and win the round.
That's why it's also good having that second person too, because
Yeah.
none of us are going to be right 100% of the time. And so like, as I see, to have people that also see the game from like a high level, like strategically, that can also call is like so beneficial.
You need the credit, I feel like, like if you are telling these people all the time, you also need to be like there to be sure that you are giving positive reinforcement, Like if you are going to say when you do something bad, you need to make sure you also say once they do something good, otherwise
It's negative.
it's just negative balance,
Yeah.
You need to always make sure it's positive or neutral, kind of thing.
I feel like as well, you need to have aura. Like you need to know how to tell people like the good way. People need to listen to you. Like I mean, you can be like really intelligent in the game, but if people don't listen to you when you speak, then you will not be a good IGL.
Respect thing. Respect. Yeah.
That's true.
Ué, tá perdido? Tô mesmo. Então vem com a gente.
Yes, we will! W7ers! They cement themselves as one of the greatest of all time!
Welcome to Reload, a bold new R6 esports format where every match is a mind game and every decision is a measure of confidence. 20 teams, one mission. Reload, survive, and conquer the finals. Teams choose who to challenge. Teams choose how many bullets to play for. And every choice has consequences. Phase 1 is called Reload to Survive. Across 5 rounds, teams do 2 things to set up their match. 1, pick their opponent. 2, decide how many bullets to reload. Bullets are points. Each team decides how many they're willing to win or lose in each match. Simple as that. Every team starts on equal footing, with 6 bullets. For rounds 1 and 2, a maximum of 2 bullets can be reloaded. From rounds 3 to 5, teams can reload as many bullets as their opponent currently holds, up to 8. So how does that work in action? Here's how a match plays out. G2 challenges Fnatic. G2 chooses to play for 4 bullets. Fnatic plays for 3. This is the reloading mechanic. G2 wins? Then 4 bullets go into their chamber. Lose? Then they lose those 4. Same goes for Fnatic. Win or lose, it's their 3 on the line. Every round is a chance to grow your bullet count, or watch it disappear. After round 4, the top 4 teams in the bullet leaderboard qualify for Phase 2. After round 5, 4 more join them. 8 move forward. The rest, eliminated. Each team holds 3 one-time use cards. Use them wisely. Chicken card. Not feeling up for the challenge? Play this card to back out of the match like a true chicken. Extended Meg. Add 6 extra bullets to your reload. A bold boost if you're certain you'll dunk on your opponent. Dual card. Available only in round 3. Lost the match and you're out of bullets? This card gives you the chance to 1v1 to stay alive for the next round. Big moments at Reload will earn bonus bullets. Win in a flawless 7-0 landslide, plus 2 bullets. Win with just 1 bullet in the chamber, plus 1. You're a survivor. Eliminate a team completely from the competition, plus 1 for being such a baddie. Then it's on to Phase 2, the Reload Finals. The classic single elimination format returns. No more bullets. Quarterfinals and semifinals are best of 3. The grand final? A best of 5 for all the glory, trophy, and a prize pool of $520,000. Every choice matters. Every bullet counts. Will your team reload with confidence or fall with nothing left in the chamber? This is Reload. Let the games begin.
Let the games begin, she says. Well, we're about to get this game to recommence. It's Team Falcons versus Wildcard. We've had a bit of an extended break there, but I hope you guys enjoyed that little content piece that we had with League of Fac and a couple of other IGLs, the leaders of Siege. But of course, we're back into it here. It's been a real tough game so far. I mean, 7 rounds deep, and it's still not clear which team is going to inch out ahead.
No, I mean, Falcons have for the first time in this match so far taken the lead, getting into a 4-3 scoreline, but it came up with a 2v4 clutch, which is like, did they deserve it? Technically, no, but they absolutely did, because that's how clutch works, right? You shouldn't have won the round, but because you did, you have now earned it. And if anything, Wildcard just, again, got to tighten up in that, 5 versus 2 or 4 versus 2, 5 versus 3 situation, and not go too quick, not fall apart as isolated members, or work together as a cohesive team.
Yeah.
The comparison was that Wildcard had like 4 people hit 4 different areas, and then 1 guy doubled up, right? So you have solo guy, solo guy, solo guy, 2 guys together. When Falcons attacked in that 4 versus 2 in round number 1, they had 3 guys swing the same defender and get that kill confirmed. So it's one team playing very much together in one point of the map, and then the other team playing very spread out, trying to go almost like a backstep, if you will, hoping they can catch Shaco and Bree looking in the wrong direction, which they weren't.
Yeah, no, there has been a little bit of a what's the word? I think the experience lack of is showing a little bit for Wildcard. I mean, they've actually had really good starts to these rounds. They've won the opening engagement
so often.
5 out of 7 times.
Oh, okay, that often, yeah, okay.
And they've only won 3 of those rounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and in contrast, of course, Falcons, they're winning from these disadvantageous positions.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just a little bit more collected, a little bit more chill in the pressure scenarios. And look, the one thing I will say for Wildcard here is what would typically be a real momentum shifter and a real downer, Shaiko winning that big clutch up with that 4K.
Yeah.
We've had an extended break since then. I don't think Wildcard have any excuse for still being down in the dumps about that. At the moment, like, all the players have their headsets off and they're just vibing because we're still getting through this little delay.
And I gotta say for Wildcard, like, the issue that they're having, like losing that like 4v2, is an easy problem to solve, first of all, and secondly, it's a great problem to have as an inexperienced roster. The fact they can get the opening kill, get the roam clear, get to the bomb side, and then the round is over, I think is the best way to struggle, versus getting spawn peeked and stuck outside the building, nobody's inside the the map at all. So, if there was an area to be a little bit weaker in as a newer team, I think this one should be it.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, so to speak.
Absolutely. Oh, Usus is just yeeting on out of there. He's like,
you know what? I'm done.
If I don't have a computer, I might just go and get a cup of coffee or something.
You're so on the coffee today.
I was telling you off camera.
Yeah.
Before. So I had a double shot coffee with my breakfast, and then as soon as I finished breakfast, I was like, damn, that was nice. I think I'll have another one. I had to stop myself from finishing it because I was about to have 4 shots of coffee before 11 a.m.
You have a problem, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
But you stop yourself from it becoming a problem.
I think I'm at least partially self-aware. But you know what would go really hard right now? Like, I mean, as we get Usus' computer fixed, why don't we just get all 10 players and us just to hang out, like a few cups of coffee, like maybe some shortbread or some cake or
I'm
something.
down for pizza. I could really do a slice of pizza right now.
That's such a different way of
I have
like
a craving.
Really?
So, I'm not sure about you, but back when I was in elementary school, many years ago.
What's elementary school? How old is that?
It's from grade 1 to grade 9. So like from age 7 till 15 or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. The best day ever is like the teacher would bring like 1 bottle of soda and 1 pizza to share with like 20 students. You get like, the tiniest slice and the tiniest sip of soda. Best day ever. I want that right now, but a bigger slice and a bigger soda.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. So I just wanted to emphasize here, the issue that is currently happening is actually a power issue with one of the computers. It's nothing to do with the game itself. That's why every other player is perfectly fine. And the game is actually launching just fine. The problem is the computer keeps bloody turning off. We've got some power issues here at the
Have they tried keeping it on?
Just,
just hold down the power button for infinity time and it never turns off.
Yeah, we've actually been trying a few different computers to try and get this to work, but it seems to be not necessarily the computer that's the problem, but something to do with the power that we're feeding into the computer. So yeah, as we've said, like, we're working on it and we'll get back into the game as soon as we possibly can. The admins are working their little hearts out trying to get this to work, and of course the players are just chilling out, but hopefully not too much longer. We're still working on it. But, it's nice to just have a chance to chill. Meanwhile, over on the B stream, spoiler alert for B stream. Spoiler. We had Jack Fresh Allen come over here earlier and give us a spoiler on what's been happening over there. Of course, you guys at home, you could just open up another tab and have a look at twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo.
Tell me the spoiler already.
Okay.
What happened?
CAG beat Elevate. So kind of APAC versus APAC in that Elevate plays in the APAC region, but they're all Brazilian.
Yeah.
So
it feels better, right?
As a totally unbiased person who happens to come from APAC, pure coincidence, I'm all like, yeah, let's go, CAG. Like, look, I love Brazil. I'm here in Brazil. But, like, if you're going to compete in APAC with no players from APAC, I'm going to root against you.
I think that's fair.
That's totally fair.
Hater energy.
Like, imagine we had, we've had a lot of imports into North America from Europe. True. Imagine we just had, like, a full EU roster in NA. I tell you, no one from North America would want them to be.
No, I really don't think they would.
Especially if it was like a full British roster.
Oh, they're the worst.
I think they would be like, look, we're going to have another tea party and you're not invited.
I mean, DC's the closest because they have 3 Brits, if you count Kangaroo Kenny. Nave, Citizen, Kangaroo Kenny. That's 3 out of 6 people on that roster are British.
The Brits are slowly invading.
Yeah, because like Nave came over there with Kangaroos. I think he was like on loan, like temporary coach, or was like locked in yet.
Yeah.
And they did like Boston Boston together, and then they locked him long term.
Exactly.
And they said, what if we brought in Citizen, who happens to be British?
Getting more and more English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of English players have found themselves on a variety of teams. I mean, Users here on Team Falcons as well. What was, for such a long time, an exclusively French team, speaking in French. We then had a Turk in Solotov and a Brit in Users join the roster. The language swapped over to English. I gotta say, like, a lot of people were really concerned when the now Falcons, then BTS roster went to English. People were like, God, these guys have been so good for so long.
Yeah.
There's not as much talent as they want that speak French, so they had to make this to English. I think a lot of people were pretty skeptical that they would manage to speak English well enough in the high-intensity environment, but that all those concerns have been completely allayed. Leakafak is a top English IGL.
the thing is, you've always worked on the illusion that like Brede and Shaiku could not join English-speaking teams. They were French players, like they would only play with French teams. If they were out there in the market as English-speaking players, they would have had a world of offers in NA, maybe a Brazilian mixed team at some point, etc. But they were like, no, we're French and we're BDS, and that's how it's always going to be. When they made that change, we're all thinking, why wouldn't they have done it earlier if this was a possibility? And they just showed us right off the rip that they have such a high potential despite changing the language communication. And it's been just a pleasure to watch. Like, they've elevated themselves tenfold. Well, maybe not tenfold, but definitely like threefold.
Definitely stepped up, like particularly within Europe. Like there was a time where BDS were very heavily contested in Europe. I mean, for years and years, obviously they've been a top team. But for example, your final season, it was G2 and BDS who were like the top teams.
Well, BDS actually, this is like the calendar year of 2020 going to 2021. BDS, I think, won like every stage and whatnot, and G2 would get between like, I don't know, top 6 and top 4, top 3 maybe. And then like in the very final EUL finals during COVID era, there wasn't like LAN tournaments, but online season finals instead. It was BDS G2 grand final best of 5 where G2 ended up winning. That was my final tournament, and that was the first time from memory at least that BDS got dethroned in Europe that entire year.
Yeah, big moment. And of course there was a long time there that BDS were ever the bridesmaids, never actually finding a championship. And that was when they made the big change, switching to English, getting in Solotov and Users. And immediately we saw an improvement. And yet, still not big enough to raise a trophy outside of EWC, of course, which kind of is, it's a big trophy, but it is set aside from
they got the
main circuit. Yeah, true. Which one was that?
Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
That was when they beat Liquid, right?
Yeah, the grand finals.
Yeah, it's one thing to win a major like that. It's another thing to win a Six Invitational, which has since eluded them. Of course, we are about to get another PC in, as you can see, our admin bringing on over. So we're doing some last testing. We're pretty confident that we'll be able to get this in just a few minutes, as the power issue is on its way to being resolved. So stick around, because Falcons versus Wildcard is going to resume in just a few moments. Welcome back, everybody, here to the A stream of Reload here. It's the debut of Siege X, and Falcons and Wildcard are still going at it. We've had 7 rounds so far. The score is 4-3 in favor of Falcons, who are grossly the favored team. Oh yeah, Wildcard's put up a really solid fight. Now, apologies for all the delays that we've had this morning. We've had some power issues here at the venue, but of course, Users, his PC is looking pretty solid. We've got everyone back with their headphones on. We have a slew of staff gathered around Users' PC to do some final testing, and then we're going to be straight back into it. And the question remains, are Wildcard going to be able to bounce back after what Falcons managed to achieve, which was a pretty incredible 2 versus 4, 2 versus 5 with that huge 4K from Shaco?
I think the biggest thing right now is not even what's happened that got us this 4-3 scoreline favoring Falcons, but how can they actually hit the server on the ground running once we had this big tech delay? I have only once as a player had like a significant delay, such as this one. It was in the OJ Pit finals, actually, in Croatia. And I think we're on stage for a solid like 2 hours, like fixing the PC. When we got back into the server, my entire team, D2, we were so clocked out of it, we lost. And we
Really?
actually, we got sent them in quarters. We lost the quarters. We've never lost the quarters before. So right now, for Falcons, yeah, they're more experienced. Yes, they're leading by a round. Yes, they clutched that round like 30 minutes ago. But can they just hit that reset button? Like, okay, we've been off, you know, off the focus mark for a bit now. We got to lock back in, refocus, re-energize, and get back into the server. Some players might struggle with this. And that's where Wildcard is the lesser experienced. I want to I hope that somebody like Dash can say, guys, don't worry, we got this. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, I would have thought that the people who were most likely to suffer in the server are those 3 new guys.
You would think so.
Their event debut, that's Baby Shark, Spiker, and Bay. But as we just saw them on the cameras, they look very chill.
They do.
If anything, I think there's a little bit more pressure here on Falcons, considering Users, he's probably pretty frustrated at this point.
Yeah.
He's like had 2 rounds where he's disconnected.
Mid-round.
And has died as a result. So it's kind of, he's thinking, well, I've done everything I can and I'm still struggling. I think Falcons would maybe feel a little bit differently if this was 4-3 in favor of Wildcard, because I think there'd be a bit more frustration. It's like, look, we're playing better than this, but we're losing because of this power issue. But fortunately for them, they at least have the fact that Shaco clutched up, so they are in the lead.
Figure something out, actually. I think Users should keep DCing. I think because they've 2 rounds, Users DCs, both those rounds, teammates clutch. League effect, pistol whip, 1v1
Now he's going to be pulling the power cable out himself.
Shaco and Bride 2v4 also won the round. So essentially, I think Users just go again. And then we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Well, I can confirm Users is officially in the server. We've loaded up, 10 players are in the server. We're waiting for the green light to actually get this game cracking back again. Now, if you guys recall, it was a 3-3 first half.
Yeah.
We've just had 1 round of Falcons on the defense, and fist bumps are going out. Wildcard are ready for their second attack round, and we're loading back into Clubhouse. A solid chance for this North American blended roster to show what they've got to show against one of the best teams in the world in Falcons. And we're back into it. A lot riding on this for Falcons after losing yesterday to Loud. They have loaded 2 bullets into their chamber for this match, so they have a lot to lose and a lot to gain out of this game.
Keep it deployed.
Oh, let's see it. Wildcard on defense, they had good strategic setups with a clear win condition where it was the roaming, a holding the bomb site, and when to fall back. I don't know what to expect from them on the attacking side. They were hovering a finger, a blanket, a glass in the beginning here, but they're now attacker repeating off them to more utility and usual. So the IQ comes out as a counter to the Echo, of course, getting Capita because he's always been in the Clubhouse, and then Hibana for hard destruction. Just to give a small reminder here, when Falcons on the attacking side, there's a lot of wall deny bans and heartbeat bans, just like we see right now. Maverick, Ace, Kaid, Bandit. That's a classic pop-up under the system. Aggressive enter here.
He's been spotted. There's a drone underneath the tool bench, the bottom right of his screen, and it did see him. Funnily enough, though, Kansan was not able to get that kill. Kansan's running for himself. Shaco takes a bit of damage. He's the lone player here on Rafters. He's trying to escape. Leakafak is looking to peek aggressively. Shaco wins his fight. Spiker sit down. And that's Hibana taken out of the game so early on in the round.
Sometimes you might have been in a bad position, but with good enough aim mechanical skill, you can frag your way out of that one.
I mean, that was a terrible position, but he made it work because he's Shaco. Very few players in the game have the level of mechanics that he does, but Baby Shark will finally finish him off from up on the roof with that striker. Wildcard have recomposed and look to try and take control of the cash and CCTV side of the map.
I think it's actually okay for Wildcard. Yeah, they lose Ibana, but there's no castle barricades. They've gotten the main wall on the CCTV side. They have can openers also on Kansan here, one spare in pocket. They can get that one Jacuzzi breach later on. So this 4v4, completely fine for the attack. You're taking out the top gunner and shotgun. You're also getting the assignment of those keeper barriers, 100 in the end stage of this round. Still got Capture Fire, got 3 finger stims as well for some healing. It's looking good.
But what may haunt Falcons come the Wildcard in the end of this round will be any Echo drones or Vulcan canisters from the Goyo. However, Usus has gone down, so numbers advantage in favor of Wildcard. I'm not sure if all those Yoko drones have managed to escape as well. They were being used to enable these roamers. Now they've been spotted. The IQ is going to assist, and one is going to be taken out. Beautiful work there from Dash. Falcons, their defense is being stripped away here by Wildcard.
Yeah, one Echo drone left right now inside of office, just looking for information right now, but it's 60 seconds to go. There's enough time for Wildcard to wait out the Goyo fire and then hit the bomb site itself with man advantage. 3, 2, 1, work together.
Oh, but they beautiful usage of the gas pipe. Leak effect detonates and it takes Bay's life. Falcons have now evened up the numbers again. Wildcard still have a little bit of time to work with. Bride has to make sure not to overpeak as the fire comes in through. So does Dash deep into the side with that finger. He's looking for a plant and he has not yet been disrupted. Baby Shark able to cover here from the gym window. Dash, he doesn't manage to plant. Solotov in the nick of time. He denies the diffuser. And with that, Kansan is the last one to go. He falls the Vulcan fire. And Falcons hold firm here on Jim.
Oh boy, so 2 steps there from Wildcard. One, they didn't shoot the gas pipe inside a connected door to master bedroom, and it looked like they kind of forgot about it existing. Yes, it's a new build, it's Siege X, etc., but you gotta know where those very basic ones they lie at. And with that also, Solotov snuck into the bomb site, no plant cover, and shut down the plant attempt.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed to sneak on through there.
So there are 2 players outside, one on gym window fighting 2 players from Falcons, and he got 1 injured, and then was fighting the second guy. While that was happening, the 3rd attacker from Wildcard was on master bedroom window, but made the rotation to connect the window instead as the final guy alive. So Kansan was like, this is fine, I fired it off, they can't push it I guess, I'm gonna rotate to a better post-plant position. Bad timing. Plant doesn't go down.
It was a good play from Wildcard, though. I was surprised that Dash managed to go in there. One thing I would like to see, though, is maybe a little bit earlier in the round, you have to shoot that gas pipe in.
Yeah. I think maybe he feared that the fire would like stall him out.
It only lasts for about 4 seconds.
Exactly, so you have time.
It does a lot of AoE damage.
If you're next to it,
yeah, die instantly. Exactly. So he really can't afford to let that happen again. That's, I think, the first time I've ever seen one of those map ingredients actually be round determining. So credit to, I believe it was Leakafact for detonating that.
Yeah. And again, Wildcard, in those like last final moments of the round, you have time to wait. You don't gotta push that go button. That's why Falcons, as a more experienced team, they were happily playing a slow attack with 15 seconds left. Wildcard are kind of rushing with 30 seconds left. You don't need to go that fast, son. You can slow things down. You got time to work with. Skyros going out. There's an awkward mirror window there. Shaco again, middle of the bomb side, swinging very aggressively. Takes a bit of damage from Baby Shark playing Buck DMR on the exterior of the map. And with that, Skyros off. There it is. Merido's gone, but this is an ugly breach, James. You can't quite get in on this one.
No, I think you might be able to vault in over that tiny little bit onto the right. Oh, no.
No, there's a gap in the middle.
Oh, that's a yikes. Spike is having a bit of a rough slog so far. I mean, the poor guy is on the breadstick at the moment. 1 kill to 7 deaths. And he's just died again. He was the Hibana as well. He messed up his breach, and now he's not looking very good. A drone on the exit sign. Very well hidden. A lot of good information here for Wildcard, but a player down and a shoddy breach makes this a very tall task.
Flank potential here. We saw Monty outside going for a rotate, maybe in the blue window instead. Diffuser being exchanged now, so they know the breach is messed up. So they're going to take Diffuser into Garrett's Carol Crafters instead and plant through this entry instead. Because the breach itself, as I said, you can't quite get in.
Oh, but you got Frostmats, you got Echo. What? Kansan already all the way up deep into Rise. I didn't realize he'd already taken this control. As a result, there might actually be a plan opportunity here. It doesn't matter if Wildcard can't get in the breach, they can cut the cross.
2C4, Shepherd right next to him actually. Oh, the wallbang just comes through. That's an injury onto Baby Shark. C4 gets shut down, gets 2 kills actually.
Big from Kansan, the C4 denied as well. A second one does not land. And so the advantage is flipped. Still, Baby Shark is outside this breach and has him and picked up. No one able to revive him either. So Wildcard, they are strapped for players. Temptation here from Solotov. He could jump out the window. He could look to deny this plan.
If he gets the kill, though, they'll know only 2 guys aside. They can rush it over Kills instead. Solotov's dead. They were holding it.
Watching his jump out. Bay has a big impact. Meanwhile, Baby Shark's actually been revived.
They slowed things down.
Hansen rotated. Yeah, smart move to slow things down. A lot of time on the clock now. 30 seconds left. As Dash begins this plan. In comes the Yokai drone. Does manage to force him off the plan for a brief moment and survives as well. This might enable Bride the time required to try and stall things out. But Dash is looking for the kill. This might not work out. Baby Shark, he's bloodying Wildcard further. Kansan looking for more. Bride! Oh, Bride! He can clutch up big. It's just Kansan now. He's been so good in this game, but he has to hunt down this final player, the Clutch King from Falcons, holding on to his position. Vector in Bride mops up the rest.
World star player in a clutch potential. Bride does it time and time again. And I gotta say, Wildcard, it looked like the plan was they're gonna slow things down, go for a plant. The Yoga drone came through and shot the first of 2 bullets. And I'm thinking, you have 25 seconds, plant again. Second stun comes through, and the third plant attempt should be successful. Then they start advancing and aggressing in towards the bomb side, and they're giving Falcons the opportunity for a clutch attempt in those mechanical situations where it's about gun skill and raw battle it out. And I mean, you gave Bride 1v1s. So Monty was covering the floors, who jumped in the window, whichever, and then sidesteps. Bride gets that kill. Monty unextends, sprints towards Bride with no backup, gets melee knifed, and dies as well. There was a lack of coordination once more from Wildcard, rather. It's a good timeout, actually.
We should do this, and they instantly said, okay, yes.
Same thing with the church round. Very disorganized. Spiker, I want you, for the executes, to put people in their positions. Okay. Give us the identity for how we want to end the round, okay? All right, let's go.
Let's go, guys. We're doing good, guys. Let's go.
Early rounds are very, very, very good. Keep that up.
Be careful of the first picks.
Yeah. Let's go. We got these guys. Like 3 rounds, that's nothing.
Yeah, we just found that thermite here. We're good.
Yeah.
Rotate as well.
I think we should play Valk as well. Someone should play Valk.
Yeah, that's what I said. I will say I will play Valk, okay? You start up garage and you don't die, Farty. You can leave after. We check
I'm playing
Reverse server, yes. Yeah. We do like kinda same strat, but we need to fall back and I will try to hide above. Okay?
or not?
Yes, please.
Oh, I can't do it with Goy.
Okay, I'm going to do it. You stay around side and after you go garage.
Yeah.
Why did you just look at You said, can we take both Scoozy? Yeah, I know I can.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying earlier. League Effect controls the soldiers so well in those like what Aaron has to do.
Up 6-3, Falcons are taking their own tactical time. That was actually their call.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't Wildcard's call.
Okay.
So obviously we listened to Wildcard for most of it. They're the ones that are disadvantaged. They have a lot more work to do.
Okay.
Let's not forget as well that round difference makes a lot of impact on the current standings.
10 seconds to insertion.
Of course, no chance of getting the bonus points out of a flawless victory here for Falcons, but they really do need to guarantee that they win their 2 bullets. Yeah, because they placed 2 bullets into the chamber for this game. They reloaded the maximum for round 2 of the tournament. Come tomorrow, we can actually reload up to 8 bullets per match, so the stakes will be a lot higher. Of course, Falcons, after losing yesterday, their 1 bullet that they reloaded against Loud, they really do have to do everything they can to increase their standings. Wildcard, on the other hand, they've kind of hedged their bets on this one, just reloaded the 1 bullet. But Falcons are looking in a solid position. I like that little analysis that we gleaned from them during that tactical.
I think they both had it spot on. I mean, Wildcard's saying that we gotta identify the round in call. Like, what's the win condition in the end round? Is it planning? Is it going for kills? Because they have been bottling those. I mean, the last 3 rounds in a row has been a clutch for Falcons or a semi-throw from Wildcard. They have the early round. Yeah, 2 rounds, the Harpies die, but they got what they needed from that operator. If they can just continue steadily throughout the round, it'll be great for them. Look at this, though. They don't know about the rover. Oh, Dash goes down.
Wow. That's a bit of an awkward position to be in for Wildcard. So early on in the round, Falcons, they'd already called this in the tactical timeout. Leakafak on the Valkyrie, holding onto the top floor, looking to try and fall back when available. But just a 1v1. Blitz should never be losing 1v1s. That's a real tough pill to swallow for Dash. We expect a lot better from him.
I think it's tough there. If you're blitz, I mean, you can go for the melee trade, which you will lose usually because melee priority now for the defenders and the attacking shield operator, or go for a flash. If he flashes and he gets melee, he should live. He tried to go for a melee trade, lost out. That's what the shield game was recently. But again, we saw Falcons call this. League Effect said, hey, Shaiko, play CC side, Breedy, put on the mid jammers, fall back really early and sell the fallback. I'm gonna hide top floor. They're just in the minds of Wildcard with the perfect counterplay.
Was there a new jammer?
Yes,
in
Thor, Master Thor.
So that was why Dash lost, essentially. Very clever.
Oh, right, it was jammer that.
Yeah, new jammer actually prevented him from using his blitz. So that's really smart play from Falcons. Breedy, it may not have been obvious, but he actually saved Leak Effect's life.
Now he's got to play out that 5v4 on the bomb side. Valcam's in pocket, a C4 to fish with. Might be pre-placed, I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see him pop it at least from Leak Effect, and it's not in his pocket any longer. Must be somewhere else or shot already. But 40 seconds left, Wildcard. I'm sure they've identified what they would like to end this round with, but I don't think they have the tools or the time to necessarily get there this time.
Very early usage, though, of those firebolts. In goes Spiker. A lot riding on him. Caught between a rock and a hard place, hiding inside of Moto, looking to try and find something underneath that Kiba barrier. Meanwhile, the Vulcans have detonated, and Solotov's found Bay. The pressure from Blue alleviated as Baby Shark is still locked out of position for the fire and the gas. Spiker finds his kill, his second of the game, but he's going to need a lot more than that. Fighting from a numbers deficit. Wildcard have to make their way in through, but it's all up to Spiker now in a 1v3. Shaiko takes him down and takes the game for Falcons. It took a hell of a long time to get there, but eventually this roster do come out on top. Wildcard put in the dirt.
Yeah, and this roster back when they were called BDS, they had slow starts to events. Maybe as Falcons, it'll be just the same thing. Of course, worrying way they had to win this, getting 4 or 3 clutch rounds in a row and a solid final round. And same for Wildcard, really good early game, really good ideas, but then in the last 10 seconds of the round, it all kind of falls apart. Again, it's a good problem to have as a young roster. I think it's very easy to solve in, long term. But right now in this specific game, there was much more potential for an overtime or even a victory for Wildcard.
That's right, 4 rounds in a row from Falcons to finish off Wildcard, who will now look to round 3 with the tail between their legs. Big win for Falcons. We'll break it all down after this.
With Leak Effect after this big winning from Falcons. And can I say, everyone was like predicting that you guys would win as you did, but why do you think everyone was kind of cheering for you or hoping that you would win?
I think everyone expects us to win because last year was a beautiful year from us. We were like the best team of the year. We finished second on SI. So yeah, for sure, everyone expects us to win, but us, we just take more our time. We have a new org, Falcon, one of the biggest org, and we just take our time and progress all together.
Cool. And also, what was the strategy behind picking Wildcard to face? I mean, they are the best team right now in the tournament. They have 8 bullets or on first in the score.
So yeah, they won the best of 1, 7-1 yesterday, and the best of 1 for me means nothing. You can have like a good day or bad day, it's just one map. So even if they were first, we were unscared about this. And also we picked them because this is a not experienced team. There is only Kanzen and Dash who have a lot of experience, but the rest are kind of new, so we just wanted to play on this.
Yeah, talking about Dash, I saw him flanking on Falcons a few times. So did you guys expect that, or did you got surprised by any chance by Wildcard gameplay?
I think we expect this kind of move after we watched the game yesterday. They were a team like who's playing really, really aggressive. So that's why we wanted to go on like default map, like club for example, and then expect every like flank, swing, every this kind of stuff. So yeah, no, we were expecting this.
Okay, always prepared, right?
The what?
You always prepared.
Yeah, kinda. We just have a look of on the team and we try to understand a bit how they play, but nothing special.
That's why you just won majors and stuff, you know? Back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Maria. It's good to hear from Liquefac. And yes, Falcons at the end, sorry for the delays. I mean, I think what happened there was Guz was chewing on all the cables in the backstage, and we finally got a handle on him.
Thing. It's always Guz.
It's always Guz. Sometimes it's Hap also, but you know, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But Falcons at the end of the day victorious. A game full of clutches. Wildcard gave it their all, but at the end of it, with the delays and all, still it's Falcons' experience that brings it across.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely worth saying. I actually thought that Wildcard had a really, really good start to this game. They obviously excelled when they were on the defense. I think the actual operator bans, once they got into round 4, Falcons managed to ban away the bandit, and that was big for them to get back into the game on their attack. Then we obviously had a big break, and we can't ignore the fact that we've had a big break. Yeah. Players are away from their PCs. The energy levels goes down, absolutely everything. And I think when that happens, you've got to look at your own experience, and you've got to be in those scenarios. Falcons had more experience. They've seen it, they've done it. Some of the guys on Wildcard, this is, you know, their first event, realistically. Yeah. And I think once we got back from that, it only felt like it was ever going to go to Falcons because of their experience.
Yeah, there was that, you know, experience factors in these kind of moments when you have to have a lot of downtime and still remain focused on the game. I think in general, we've got to praise Wildcard for their game plan. I know it looks like 7-3, but if you think of the amount of clutches, that crazy play from Bride, the 1v4, also the crazy play from Shaiko with Azami down.
Really high IQ.
A really high IQ from here. But, you know, if you look at these things, it's effectively 2,
I don't know who would say otherwise.
Do you want to listen to what I'm saying or not?
No, I was just thinking about how IQ it was, Leo.
all right. But it's effectively 3-4 rounds that Wildcard should have won. Yeah. They had a huge man advantage, and that's inexperience to me. But it also means that they had the potential to beat Falcons on these rounds. So they shouldn't beat themselves up. It's the kind of things that is only about experience, and also the fact that they're playing incredible individual players. Up to you. Yeah.
Am I good to go now?
Yeah,
Thank you.
That was a long one.
Yeah, no, but what they will get from that, they did lose, obviously, Wildcard, but they showed that they had the potential, as you just said, and they will take learnings from this game. Everybody has to go through a beating, and when you go through beatings and you take the losses, it's all about the learning. So I don't think they should beat up on themselves too much.
There's multiple players on the Falcons side that really shined throughout this game, but Wildcard also had somebody that went above and beyond.
Once again, Kanzen. Kanzen is the key player for these guys. He's the guy holding them together. On this round, they're trying to hold Raptors with Jagger, preventing all of these projectiles, and they managed to hold for super long. And Kanzen is the key player here again, avoiding the fireballs, getting a triple kill there, holding the strong area, and denying Garage not only once, but 2 rounds in a row.
And how strong is that position going to be on Clubhouse now with the Jaeger changes that they catch the Capitao bolts? You don't need to play one mine out there. You can hide your ADSs in front of you on the rafters, and teams, and we saw Falcons are one of the best teams in the world, they couldn't clear Garage twice against Wildcard.
And the reason for that? What was banned? He banned an ace. So the rafters wall that he's playing on can stay open. No one will come with a thermite charge in the middle of server. And this is why that position was so strong. Again, operator bans showing.
When will we see a Jaeger ban? Maybe with the current changes to the Jaeger, that kind of nullifies what Wamai brought in the past, and you have to adapt throughout those bans during it. The meta is evolving. There's of course changes that come into Siege X in terms of balancing compared to what we're playing currently with the live game of Rainbow Six. So those small changes really do have an impact. And well, you're seeing it now with the Jaeger. I think that is definitely the biggest example of it. However, I have to talk about the detail. Our first one for the day brought to you by Blacklight, one of our wonderful sponsors here on Reload. And what's the detail? What do you got for us?
It's still about the new changes of TJX, right? We just mentioned the operator bans, right? Now we're going to specifically speak about the new destructible elements and how they can impact a clutch situation. Here in this 2v2, you're going to see Liquefac go for the punt. Yuzus has shot the gas pipe here to burn time, isolating the gunfight on office because they cannot pick him from construction. Here, same scenario, but in the opposite team. Kanzen is in a 1v2. He's gonna push here, shoot the fire extinguisher. In that way, he isolates the gunfight on construction again.
We've heard from teams that very often they will shoot out some of these destructive elements to nullify them right at the very start of the rounds. A couple of times inside of this game, we didn't see either team do it, and then we saw it come back to the advantageous for the teams that needed it in the moment. It's a really nice, niche, unique scenario that happened twice inside of this one game.
Always in clutch situations.
Yeah, and it's beautiful to see. This is what I mentioned yesterday on the intro desk, and I'm going to toot my own horn for just a second there. Like, yes, of course, teams will usually shoot them out on defense, but it's like when you run an Oryx. It will almost never have an impact until the moment it does, and it really does swing the entire game around. It didn't end up winning the game for Wildcard in here anyways, but those sorts of moments, they win rounds for you. And that's where you have to predict and learn the game. This is the first time we get to see Siege X in competitive play, so there's a lot that's going to change and is going to be learned over the next year of competition and really the next 10 years of Rainbow Six. But I want to talk about Stream B for just a moment here, because we had our first ever Flawless card invoked, and that's something that we mentioned. We'll show the graphic. What is the Flawless card, Jack?
Exactly. So Fnatic obviously just played Scars on Stream B. Scars actually chose Fnatic as their opponents yesterday in the draft show, and Fnatic beat Scars 7-0. It was a huge 2v5 clutch to get it over the line, by the way. And because of that, Fnatic had reloaded 2 bullets into that fixture, but because they also won 7-0, as you can see on your screen, they will gain an extra 2 bullets. So they pick up the bullets they lost yesterday already, so it's put them in a great place.
That's 4 bullets in a single matchup, which will be crazy for round 2. That's the maximum you could ever get. The reason for this was the skyscraper pick, right?
It will send Fnatic from like second bottom in the bullet standings all the way into the top half of the set.
Maybe they would be a team that just flies under the radar. Yeah. Really stays in the middle there, and then finally you see them on the main stage. Who knows? We'll talk about all that and more coming into Game 2 after the break.